What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR365. What is going on? It is 12 noon. It is Saturday, and today is February 9th. What is the latest, bro? Okay, so today I gotta tell you guys, not a lot of like major news stories. You know, it is Saturday. This is kind of typical for Saturday, but I do have a few different things to get into today. I've got a number of different trailers. Basically, it's just a lot of little stuff for the most part is what we have here. And so, you know, let's go ahead and get the show on the road. So, yeah, it is 12 noon. It is February 9th, and we are back. Okay, so you know what I wanted to start off with? Might as well go ahead and grab the trailer and throw it into this little window right here before we get going. Okay, so I wanted to start off with Angry Birds VR Isle of Pigs. All right, so I did contact Resolution Games, and I was able to get a key for this game. So I've been able to check out Angry Birds Isle of Pigs. I played this yesterday for probably a good 45 minutes. I think I was playing this. Anthony, you're always already talking once my feed starts. Well, oh, you know what? I probably need to wait about 7 seconds, right? But anyways, so here we go. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get into Angry Birds VR. I did play this game yesterday, and I'll also say this. Later today, like when I'm done with this particular show today, I'm going to jump in and do a quick little Let's Play of Angry Birds VR. And it's been a while, guys. I haven't done a Let's Play. For some reason, I'm on a little bit of a dry streak here in regards to Let's Plays. Like, I haven't posted a Let's Play in quite some time. But I will get back into the swing of things, so don't worry about that. And I do plan on doing a Let's Play for this game, Angry Birds VR Isle of Pigs. Now, what are my thoughts on Angry Birds VR? Well, I can tell you that going into this game, before I had first-person knowledge, before I had my first-hand knowledge of playing this game, I got to admit to you guys that I was expecting this game to just be polished up the yin-yang. Very similar to like Tumble VR by Supermassive Games. Just a whole bunch of polish, a whole bunch of spit shine, every little sound effect, every little menu, every little doodad. I was expecting that, okay? And I was also expecting that the game would be fun. You know, it'd have jingles, it'd have good music, very vibrant colors, and all of these sorts of things. And I gotta be completely honest. You know me, guys. I am straight up honest. I will tell it like it is. And I'm playing this game, and I'm in the first stage of the game, the beginning part of the game. There's basically these 4 main areas that you get to go into, and each of the 4 main areas has 12 stages or 12 little levels, and then there's a boss stage. So kind of like basically 13 stages times 4 is pretty much what you get, 12 and a boss stage. And I'm in the first area, and I'm maybe like 7 or 8 levels into it, and I started to get bored. I just straight up started to get bored. I can't, you know, what am I supposed to say? I started to get bored playing this game. And I'm going through these stages and I'm thinking, man, I got to get through these stages. I got to get through at least this very first, the very first area so I can see a completely different area. And so I kept banging away at it, and I finally did. I finally did get to the second area where a lot of stuff is made out of like these stone blocks. I got to that second area, but I gotta say, man, my honest opinion right now, I gotta play this some more. You know, I haven't like made a final decision on this game, but I honestly would not tell people to run out there and grab this game right now. I think this could have been done better in VR. Let's go ahead and let me see here. Let's go over to the Steam page real quick. So let's go ahead and check the webby browser over here. So this is the Steam page. It's got positive reviews. You know, we can see positive reviews. This came out on February 7th, Resolution Games. You can grab it for $15. And I don't know, I just kind of thought it was a bit mediocre. Am I crazy to say that? It's going to be interesting because tomorrow I'm going to be on the VR Roundtable episode, and I don't believe Gary is going to be on tomorrow's episode, but I'm pretty sure me and Steve will be there. Maybe Chris will be there. And I'm interested to get their impressions as well. Like, were they, I played the sandy beach. Okay, so there's sandy beach, rocky climb, snowy slopes. I played the sandy beach and I played rocky climb. Those were the two areas that I played, and I went through all of what was in Sandy Beach, all 12 levels, and then the boss level. And I was only maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 levels into Rocky Climb, the second part of it, and didn't do a hell of a lot. There wasn't anything wrong with the game. Like, I have no complaints about it, but I definitely can't say, oh, you got to run out there and get Angry Birds VR Isle of Pigs. Maybe VR Furballs isn't as bad as I thought it was, so I don't know. Let's see. So we could pop out chat here because Paradise is checking in. Of course, Paradise, my chat is not showing the right chat here. It doesn't seem to be showing me the popped out chat. So hold on one second here. I'm going to close this chat and re-pop it because that doesn't seem to be the right chat here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop out chat. And here we go. Okay, so Paradise Decay says, loved Angry Birds, so did my son. Better than Tetris for me. I forgot to play Tetris Effect. I forgot to do the demo. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was expecting to love Angry Birds. I really was. See, the thing is, I have a history with Angry Birds. Like, I think I have the same history that all of you guys have. Is like, remember when the tablet era first kicked off? Remember when everybody started getting tablets and tablets were like the big thing? Angry Birds on a tablet was kind of like, that was kind of the killer app if you had a tablet in those early days. And I played a lot of Angry Birds on tablets. I played it on phones. And I always liked Angry Birds. I always thought it was a well-polished thing. It was funny. It was cute. It just worked very well. Very simple, but very effective. And I'm playing this yesterday. I just got bored. Like, I honestly did not even want to finish the first area that I was in, but I kind of forced myself through it because I wanted to see the second area. I wanted to get to Rocky Climb. Haven't seen Snowy Slopes, haven't seen Party Peak, so I haven't been to some of those areas yet. But you know what? I'll do a Let's Play on it, and I'll talk about it in the Let's Play. Again, there's nothing horribly wrong with it. And then the other thing I will say, though, production values, like, I wasn't blown away either by the production values. And I kind of feel like Resolution Games could have taken additional advantage of VR, like could have used VR a little bit more. Basically what they did is they would give you a couple of different spots that you could teleport to. And so you would have the Angry Birds set up wherever it was, and you might be able to teleport over there and get it from a different angle, teleport over here, get it from a different angle. It depends on what stage you're on. Some of the early stages, they would only give you maybe 1 or 2 different possible locations that you could shoot from, but some of the other stages you might have 3 or 4 areas that you could shoot from. And, you bounce between the different areas, but I don't know. I felt like maybe there could have been some zooming in effects, some kind of special effects, something to jazz it up a little bit. So, solid game. It's a solid game, and it's only $15. We can't really expect everything, under the sun. It's only $15. And this is a major license. It's a major game. It's a major franchise. So you're kind of paying a little bit of a tax from the standpoint of it being a major franchise, where like if this was some miscellaneous game somebody made, it'd probably be $9.99, but it's Angry Birds, so they're going to charge you that $15. But it's solid. It's okay. But I honestly just wouldn't run out there and race to play this game if I were you. But that is my thoughts on Angry Birds. Okay, another thing that we're seeing here in the news is KartKraft. So I've heard about this thing, KartKraft. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to the standard scene. And the bottom line here is I don't know anything about KartKraft, but I heard a lot of people talking about this in the last couple of days because it has now added VR support. It's also 15% off. Of course, the game is still in early access, and you're probably going to have to rebind your controls, and the VR part of it is kind of like a beta. It's like basically in beta. But why don't we go ahead and grab the trailer? I do have, it's actually a very old trailer for KartKraft. It is kind of like the Steam Greenlight trailer before I think they even had an official name for it. But let me go ahead and grab this trailer and we can check this baby out, and we'll talk about it as we take a look at the Steam page when we get back. So I'm going to go ahead and pump the volume on this Angry Birds real quick, and let's switch up. Let me grab this. Okay, this trailer is hella long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here. But yeah, that is KartKraft. It now has VR support. A lot of people are talking about this on the Vive subreddit and elsewhere. We can go ahead and bounce over here to the Steam page. Here it is, KartKraft. Champions are made in KartKraft. No suspension, no downforce, no seat belts. This is real kart racing. Sharpen your racecraft as 20 other drivers hustle to get past and steal the checkered flag. Now you can see recent reviews, mostly positive. All reviews, very positive. This came out last November 1st. Black Delta is the developer of this game. It is in early access and it does have a promotion right now. It is 15% off. You can grab this for 17 bucks. Normal price is 20, and you can see on February 7th, that's when the VR beta basically kicked off. You can now use VR and Windows mixed reality headsets via Steam VR or the Oculus Runtime for those with Rift headsets. And they basically say, look, there's still a lot to add and improve. They're not quite there yet. They have some known issues. No horizon lock head simulation. Replay mode is inaccessible. HUD and driver names may not render. Menus may clip into world objects. Cinematics and menus may not all be VR compliant. Karts may be blurry when viewed up close. There is some known issues, but lots of people are playing this. They're having a lot of fun with it. A lot of people are talking about it on the Vive subreddit. That is KartKraft. And yeah, see, a lot of people do play the kart part of Project Cars VR, like Project Cars 2 or Project Cars 1 and 2, I think has karts. And a lot of people are saying it is better. The actual kart racing aspect of KartKraft is better than the racing karts that are in Project Cars. Okay, another story we can go to. Let's switch over here to Upload VR. And there is this story right here, Rec Room. Rec Room devs strongly hint at Oculus Quest port. And so apparently the developers, Against Gravity, did a AMA the other day, and they basically strongly hinted at the fact that they're working hard to bring Rec Room to a bunch of new platforms. He then notes that many people noticed their company logo listed at Oculus Connect 5 in October as working on a Quest game or port. Immediately after, he begins, let's just cut right to it. We are work, but then is cut off by an intentionally inserted Simpsons technical difficulties image. Yeah, so, I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed, guys. This is coming to Oculus Quest. Now, one thing, though, is they did say that it might be kind of difficult to port this over, that the developer goes on to note that porting is a large and difficult task for a small team, that Oculus Quest, the GPU, significantly less powerful than a PC graphics card, and the time required to conduct this port has even slowed down their regular development. But absolutely, they've got to be porting this over to the Oculus Quest. Rec Room has done very well across a lot of platforms. In fact, it is installed on over 1 million headsets, likely much of that thanks to PlayStation VR support. A lot of people really like Rec Room on PlayStation VR. And so it's pretty much a given. I think we're going to see this very quickly on the Oculus Quest. Maybe not immediately at launch, but probably within a couple months, I would imagine. Okay, so that is a Rec Room. All right, well, you know, one of your guys' favorite stories of all time, I mean, one of your favorite topics to get into, is Magic Leap. You guys love Magic Leap. And I don't really care that much about Magic Leap, but damn, you guys care so much about it that I gotta talk about it. I gotta go into Magic Leap a little bit. But you know what? Seriously though, they are doing this thing with Madefire where they're basically gonna bring like visual novels and comic books that are basically gonna realistically leap off of the pages and become 3D right in front of your face. You'll be able to examine it from like multiple angles and stuff. And so this is a partnership that is going on between Madefire and Magic Leap. And I do have a trailer for this. It looks kind of cool. Why don't we go ahead and check the trailer real quick and we can come back and talk about it briefly. Let me go ahead and grab that trailer.
I spent a lot of time drawing when I was young. I've always just loved to draw, but particularly to tell stories in pictures. This is the first comic, the first superhero comic I ever had, and it just made me really want to be a comic artist. And I've been lucky enough to work on all my favourite characters. I've done Superman, I've done Batman, but I suppose when they come to write my obituary in the distant future, the word Watchman is going to be in the first paragraph. The trick of drawing is you see things in 3D, but you express them in 2D. That's the thing that goes on in your head. And that's exactly what Magic Leap and Madefire are the extension of. You can arrange the artwork on layers which give you depth, parallax, camera movement, mood music, sound effects. And once you've got that built in Madefire, you can then translate it across into Magic Leap and turn something flat into something which exists in space before you. Magic Leap to me is it's like an out-of-body experience almost, like you had entered your dreams, you'd crossed the threshold. Not only are you seeing characters that you created, but you're actually seeing them in spaces that you're familiar with. It's clear to me it's going to transform many, many aspects of life. You're really only limited by your imagination. As a storyteller and an artist, the future looks great.
Well, you know, the one thing I will say is I love a well-done trailer with great production value, good camera work, good sound, and that's what we got here. You know, we've got great production value. Now, at the very end of this trailer, we get a little bit of a sampler of what somebody would be experiencing if they had this, if they had Magic Leap and they were doing these comic books through Magic Leap. And you can see there's a little bit of a window here, and it's kind of popping out, and you're kind of, you know, viewing it from this side and that side. My problem with it, though, well, see, I'm not a comic book guy, so I'm not really in the target market for this. And if you're like really hardcore comic book guy, this could be some next level stuff that you'd really, really get into. For me, like, I would look at it for a while. See, my worry is this would be like a gee whiz factor for me for maybe like a day or two. But then I would get over it. I would acclimate to it, and I'd be like, is this really the way I want to experience my graphic novels or my comic books? Do I really want to go through the trouble of firing this thing up, having the battery completely charged up, you know, just so I can see these guys kind of stepping out of the comic a little bit and kind of see that parallax and see the bricks that are kind of like floating out in the air and stuff like that? I'd have to be a really hardcore. That's kind of cool right there, though, where you're turning and you see deeper into the scene, like you're seeing into the background a little bit, almost like it's a portal. Like, that is kind of cool. Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, this is definitely a good idea, and there is going to be a future where this is going to be important at some point. Magic Leap, we don't know that Magic Leap is ultimately going to survive, do we? I mean, that's the honest truth. We don't know that Magic Leap is going to be around to deliver this future. Somebody will. Somebody is going to deliver this future, but we may be like about 5 years early on this. So anyway, that is Magic Leap with Madefire and graphic novels. And I'm not sure exactly when exactly is that coming. You know, we hear about it. I just always wish, like, give us a date. Like, is this actually available now? Can I do something right now? Of course, I don't have a Magic Leap, so it's not going to happen. All right, let's see. So another little story that we can get to real quick is there is a game called Scion Bolt. Let me go ahead and switch over to my Webby browser here, and here's our Webby browser. And so I noticed this on the Oculus Store. I remember this game, I think, from a long time ago. I think I had a show a long time ago where I mentioned Scion Bolt. I don't know, we might have had some screenshots, might have had some kind of video or something like this. But this is available on the Oculus Store. It is going for $10. The developer is Red Crack Studios, and this launched on January 29th. Now, this is not available on Steam. It's not available on PlayStation VR. I don't know if there's some kind of temporary exclusive that's going on here, or they just happen to get it on the Oculus Store, and it's eventually going to work its way over to Steam. But there is this game, Scion Bolt. I did grab a trailer for this so that we could check it out real quick briefly. So let's go ahead and switch back over to our standard scene here. I'm going to pump the volume and let's check out this Scion Bolt trailer.
To tell stories in pictures. This is the first comic, the first superhero comic I ever had.
Welcome to the Emer Space Station, the most advanced military research facility ever constructed.
All right, well, that is Scion Bolt. It doesn't look too shabby. And, you know, we do see the Oculus logo right at the very beginning there. This was a teaser trailer that came out a while back. So this might be some kind of like temporary exclusive here. Now, yeah, the video is quite dark. My question is Paradise Decay. You know, Paradise loves shooters. This is his genre. You know, he's into these type of games. And Paradise could pretty much play every Oculus game under the sun. So Paradise, have you played this? Do you like this? What is your thoughts? Because I haven't really heard too many people talking about this. But it is out there. It's only 10 bones. Graphically looks pretty decent. I just wonder, is the gameplay going to flow good? And that type of thing. But doesn't look too bad. Scion Bolt, Red Crack Studios. So that is, yeah, Red Crack, brah. Red Crack Studios. This is Scion Bolt, and you know there's a handful of reviews here, not very many. So we can't, only 5 ratings so far, but it's got 4 stars out of 5. Let's just see what it talks about real quick. Get ready for a fast VR shooter experience. The Soldiers of Emer Scion program has aimed to create the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Over the past 24 hours, no contact with the Emer base has been achieved. As a colonial marine, John Bolt, you have been sent to investigate the military facility just to find out that it has been overrun by an unknown enemy force. Get ready for VR bloodshed, jump, fire, and fight with everything you can. Let's see, investigate the Emer space facility in single-player campaign with over 70 combat zones, or kill as many enemies as you can in the survival maps to test your VR combat skills. So yeah, that is Scion Bolt. It is available now. Looks kind of a Doom style game. You know, looks a little bit Doomish in a way, but could be decent. Might not be too shabby. That is Scion Bolt. Okay, since we are on the topic right now of Oculus Rift, and one of the things that we do look at pretty much every single day is we take a look at the Oculus Daily Deal. So why don't we go ahead and see what they got going on for the Oculus Daily Deal this time. And here it is. It is Ocean Rift, and this is a 50% drop. This puppy normally goes for 10 bucks. You can grab this for a 5 spot. And Ocean Rift is the world's first VR aquatic park. Explore a vivid underwater world full of life, including dolphins, sharks, turtles, orcas, sea snakes, rays, whales, manatees, sea lions, and even dinosaurs. Ocean Rift is divided into 12 unique habitats, ranging from coral reefs, shipwrecks, lagoons, to the Arctic, the deep, and prehistoric seas. So there's about a little over 11 hours are left in this. This looks kind of cool. You know, here's the thing. What was that thing called? The Blue, you know, with the whale, right? Like, I never bought the full version of that, and it's been on sale a number of times. I probably should have grabbed it when it was a nice cheap price, because it is one of the coolest experiences. If you have somebody that's coming over to your house and they've never ever tried VR in their entire life, the Blue was always a really good thing to throw somebody in. And I never tried the entire full version of the Blue. And I've always heard of Ocean Rift, but I've never tried this one either. But this stuff is kind of cool because I like the relaxation factor of it. I've said many times before, sometimes I can just put on some VR and just kind of kick back, just kind of relax and just enjoy the scenery. And I imagine that's kind of what you would do in Ocean Rift. Another thing I've been impressed with is like PlayStation VR Worlds. And I've talked about this a million times, but if you take your PlayStation VR headset to like the next family function that is going on, a birthday party or some kind of celebration, a bunch of people are coming over, PlayStation VR Worlds has the shark cage experience where you're in a shark cage. It gets lowered down. You get to see like some fish swimming around. There's obviously a shark at a certain point. There's like a submarine. There's manta rays and stuff like that. And it all looks pretty good. And it all works very good. and it is probably the most ideal experience. I've actually put some much older people into that shark cage experience, and it's a good experience to put a noob in, and Ocean Rift could be similar to that. I probably would like to try this. Main Fan says Ocean Rift is 2014 old. Man, that is like before VR was even like legitimately around. He also says Ocean Rift is very old. It's good. There's not much to do, but it is good. Yeah, so... And King Hell says the blue is worth it. Simon Jones says the blue only lasts a few minutes. Well, see, I've only ever tried the sample area of the blue. And one of the downsides with the sample area of the blue is, oh wait, Paradise is saying the game feels a bit janky at times, but makes up for it with its atmosphere and combat. Are you talking about the Scion Bolt game? Paradise says 3 stars, not the greatest looking action shooter, but it's fast paced and energetic. If you like the movement style of original games like Doom and Dead Effect 2, you'll probably like this one. Okay, so I think he's talking about Scion Bolt here, because I know, he was really into Necromutex, which just recently came out, but he might be talking about Scion Bolt, 3 stars. So a little bit janky, but it does have good atmosphere and combat. So Scion Bolt doesn't look too incredibly terrible there. But yeah, and Sloth Monkey says the PSVR Shark experience is one of my first VR experiences, but still one that I love and makes me also wish I had PSVR. Yeah, I could imagine there will be a day maybe when we have, can you imagine a VR shark cage experience where you actually are going underwater in an actual shark cage, and everything is mapped perfectly. Now you'd have to have, of course, a VR headset that's built to a freaking oxygen tank and all of that. So it'd be pretty elaborate, and it almost, I don't know if it'd really be worth the entire trouble to go through all of that. Maybe you could do one where you're in a shark cage and it's only halfway submerged in the water. So you have like water coming up to your waist, and you have the bars of the shark cage, and you can grab the bars, and the bars they're perfectly tracked, in the right spots. And then you can kind of see just below the water, you can kind of see the shark swimming around. That would be kind of cool. I've always thought of that shark cage, like what if you could grab the railings and really feel that? And I Am Red says, no, that sounds ridiculous. Just go in a real shark tank. Hey, man, don't knock it till you try it. It is coming to location-based VR simulators eventually. Eventually, we will go underwater with VR. I'm convinced of it. Okay, so that is Ocean Rift for 5 bones. All right, let's see. What else do we got? Well, you know what? Speaking of Necromutex, why don't we go ahead and check out the Steam page real quick? Because you know what? This is available. This came out yesterday. I actually forgot about this. There's only one user review. It came out yesterday. Denormalizer is the developer of this, and it is going for $15. Playable as a normal PC shooter or in VR using the Vive and the Rift. It does require 360-degree tracking. So if you are a Rift gamer, you've only got two USB sensors. You might have some issues with that a little bit. But, you got to wonder about developers for games like this. How are they getting the word out there? What do they do to get the word out there? Now I wonder, is everybody doing videos on Necromutex? I know Paradise did a video, but is Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis, is he doing a video on this? Is Nathy doing a video on this? Is Cass and Cherry, are they doing a video on this? Is Epic's doing a video on this? Because how do you get the word out? If you're just a small developer, you're making a little game. Obviously you're going to have a little Reddit thread that might, but see, the thing is, it's if your little Reddit thread doesn't blow up, how does anybody find out about it? So it's got to be a major struggle for a developer like this to get the word out and get their game out there and get a little bit of hype. Because if you don't get any hype in the very beginning, man, your game can just get absolutely buried. It's kind of crazy. But that is Necromutex. That is available right about now. I have not personally tried this. I have not checked this out. Paradise is a major fan of this. He really likes it. It's very arcadey, fast-moving, an incredible number of levels. And Paradise says the developer of Necro has a really good video out now on how to play the game after watching mine. He said I played the game too slow. Yeah, that's the thing. And especially those of us that are doing Let's Plays, you play the game wrong, bro. I mean, I know that so many games I probably play it completely wrong. Like, somebody takes a look at my Jet Island Let's Play. They're like, dude, you're not doing anything right. And sometimes that is the way it is. But that is Necromutex. Okay, so you know what we can go to now is I have a few trailers, miscellaneous games really, and these are kind of like Japanese anime style games. Don't know a lot about them, but I do have a couple new trailers for it. I thought we might be able to check some of these out. One of them is Spice and Wolf VR. So let me go over here. This is the Kickstarter page for Spice and Wolf VR, which is, I believe, coming to VR in 2019. The developer is Spicy Tales. Now, this developer, they previously worked on Project Lux, so they have done stuff in VR. And we do have a new trailer for this that kind of shows a little bit more of the gameplay. It's definitely one of these anime style things that's kind of a little bit out of my wheelhouse a little bit. But let's go ahead and check this trailer out, see what it's all about. I'm going to bounce back over here to our standard scene, pump up this volume, and let's check this out.
ほら、いい加減機嫌直せよ。何か食べるか？
わっちゃ堅牢ホロじゃ。食い物などで釣られはせぬ。それにこれ以上わっちが金を使ったら主から捨てられるかもしれぬからの。
この前の町で買った干しぶどう食べていいから。わ
っちゃ食い物などに釣られぬ。それにどうせほんのちょっとしか食べてはいかんとか言うのじゃろうが。
新しい櫛とブラシは予定外の出費だからダメだと言ったんだ。けど干しぶどうはお前のために買ったんだから好きなだけ食べればいい。とはいえ食べたらおしまいだ。しばらく甘いものなしの旅が続いても後悔しないようにな。
All right, well, that seems a little bit less of a trailer and more just kind of a little quick peek at the game engine pretty much there. And so I got to imagine, is this game going to have English subtitles? I sure hope it does, because it's going to be hard to understand otherwise. But yeah, this is Spice and Wolf VR. And there's people out there that just love this stuff. They eat this stuff up and they can't wait for more of it. Not me, but you know what? I don't know. It could be interesting to get into one of these things here. And so, yeah, just looking at their Kickstarter page, like you go way down here, and see they did this game. They did Project Lux, which is on Steam right about now. In fact, why don't we go ahead and click on this? Yeah, this is a Steam page for Project Lux, and you can see very positive. You know, it's got 163 reviews, very positive. Spicy Tales is a developer. This came out back on February 2nd, 2018. It's on sale actually right now, a little under 17 bucks here, 35% off. You got 45 hours left in that. But I got to imagine that Spice and Wolf is going to be very, very similar to this. Basically, you're talking to this little anime girl and probably doing little puzzles and little things with the anime girl, and that's kind of the strategy there. Not really my bag, but who knows? I mean, I've never really tried one of these, so who knows? But yeah, that is Spice and Wolf VR. And in chat, I believe, yeah, I need to do a Let's Play of this. In chat, I think it was Paradise says he heard Spice and Wolf is coming to Quest. Yeah, they pretty much want this going to everything. They're talking about this is going to go to Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, Oculus Go, PlayStation VR. Look, it's compatible with Oculus Rift, Oculus Go, HTC Vive, PSVR, Oculus Quest. It's coming everywhere, man. They plan on putting this game on everything. And she's probably doing the voice work, and this guy's probably doing the voice work for the dude. This is the cast here. And so they probably don't use like English voice dub, so it's probably just going to have subtitles. But most people kind of prefer it that way anyways. But that is Spice and Wolf VR. All right, well, speaking of these same types of games, there's another game called The Last Letter. And I saw this on Arthan's VR. Why don't we check out the trailer for The Last Letter? I'm going to go ahead and pump this up and grab this baby. All right, so that is The Last Letter VR, and I was reading about this game. I believe it was on Arthan's VR. They had a little story about this, and it looked like it was an upcoming game. And I saw this trailer, and I was looking at this house, and I was looking at, like, you know, like feeding the fish and all that stuff. Like, this looks kind of cool right here. This doesn't look that horrible. Like, this looks like a real VR world, and you're participating in this. This part right here looks, you know, mildly interesting as well. I got to imagine this whole thing is in Japanese. And then you do have your little slingshot, so you can get a little Angry Birds action going on here. And so I thought this was an upcoming game that we were waiting for. But I did a search and I found a Steam page. It appears to be available right now. So why don't we go ahead and check out the Steam page real quick. So this is The Last Letter. And yeah, it is available on Steam. It says that it released back on December 30th. I don't know if that actually happened, but maybe it did. Donuts Company is the developer of this. The Last Letter is a VR narrative puzzle game. An enigmatic letter of girlfriend's grandma accompanying an antique board game will lead you to the discovery of a mysterious and fantastic world. So it kind of sounds a little bit like Jumanji. Yeah, you have an antique board game that takes you to a mystery world. These guys watched Jumanji and they tried to make a game out of it. But you know, graphics and the design of this actually look halfway decent. This baby's on sale right now. It is $20. Normal price is $25. This special promotion ends on February 16th. But it's amazing, all these little games. There's so many little VR games or VR things that come out that I completely miss the boat on a lot of this stuff. And I just have no knowledge of this. But these games, it's amazing because, I mean, VR 365, this is what I'm into. I'm on the subreddits every day. I'm checking all the news, all the VR gaming websites every day, but I still will completely miss something like this. And this does look like it has relatively decent production values, decent character models. I mean, this interior right here, you got a nice cat. Look at that cat. That cat looks pretty sweet. I kind of like the interior, you know, good character models and designs and everything. Here's the Jumanji game that you're going to be playing. You know, you got a slingshot and stuff, and then you end up in this weird magical mystical world. There's a letter from grandma that you're dealing with here. It looks like you got some little dinosaur type characters, but you also have this real world that you're dealing with. There's the cat's bed and her little water bowl and food bowl. So, you know, you've got an interactive cat as well. That's what I want, an interactive cat simulator. Okay, but yeah, I don't know. This doesn't look that terribly awful, but that is the last letter. But going back up here in chat, some of this stuff is funny. Chris says, everything Japanese always gets good ratings on Steam. If it's anime, it gets good reviews, even if it sucks. Yeah, that is kind of true. It really is. And you know what? It kind of reminds me of like Orbis VR as well. Like a lot of people were really pissed off. A lot of people were kind of complaining about the fact that Orbis VR is ranked 3rd on our HTC Vive charts. But you know what? If people vote for it, what are you going to do? You know, you can't just throw those votes away. And so I think the whole anime girl, Japanese flavor kind of a thing that goes on out there, it gets a lot of love in the same way that like these MMO VR games get extra love, just automatic extra love. And that does happen. And it makes it difficult for somebody that's really into these kinds of games to actually know if this stuff is any good or not. So you probably have to go to some specialized websites where they really get into it and then find out, is this actually legit, or is it just basically a little anime girl walking around? You know, the one thing that would be cool with these types of games, imagine if you were trying to learn Japanese. Like imagine you're taking beginning courses in Japanese. You're trying to learn to speak Japanese, and these games would be great for that, you know, because you could kind of practice it. You hear the Japanese, you see the words, the little Japanese letters pop up on the screen and everything. So it would be good if you're trying to learn Japanese. It would actually be kind of cool for that. But lots of people here are saying it's a hard pass. R. Gambo says, I love Cowboy Bebop. Jason Westman says, I didn't see any grandma in that game. Yeah, grandma's the one that wrote the letter. Airman929565 says, I would last about 10 seconds in this game. Yeah, this is definitely out of my wheelhouse, like way the hell out of my wheelhouse. But I wouldn't mind going into one of these things and seeing, you know, what it's all about. Remember that one game? It was Summer Lesson for PlayStation VR. What was that game, Summer Lesson? It was like you're trying to teach a girl how to play piano and stuff. Summer Lesson PSVR. Let's look up that. Summer Lesson PSVR. Like, did this ever come out in the United States? I'm scared to go to images. I'm very scared. Okay, Summer Lesson is the scariest VR experience I've ever had. That's Polygon. Did this ever come out in the USA? Was it ever a thing? This is the definition of too close for comfort. Yeah, I remember hearing about this. And you know, this is part of our VR future, guys. This is our VR future. It is coming whether we like it or not. But yeah, I don't remember Summer Lesson, if it ever actually came out in the US, or you might have had to order it from Japan or something, and you can never get it on the US store. But yeah, I know people were talking about that at one point. Okay, so let's see, what other stuff can we get into here? We're almost out of this show at this point, but you know what? I do have a trailer for a zero latency experience. It is called Soul Raiders, and I thought we might be able to check this out. Let's see here. Let me go back over here. We'll go back to our standard scene here. And now this trailer is kind of weird because it's kind of in this like super widescreen format. Yeah, Chris says, it starts by learning the piano and it ends with prawn. Oh, so they have a prawn dinner. You're talking about tempura fried prawns. Yeah, you start off, you learn piano. She makes a wonderful tempura fried prawn dinner for you. Sure, okay, sounds good. Yeah, I want to learn piano and I want to have some prawns. Oh, prawn. Okay, I know what you're talking about. All right, yeah, so that is summer lesson. You know, I'll straight up admit it. I'll jump on a grenade for the rest of the boys here. I'm down to try a dating simulator just to see how far they've come. You know, I'm down to try it out sometime just because I think we got to get to a point where we have like legitimate AI characters. I go back to that one movie, Her, with Joaquin Phoenix. I highly recommend checking out that movie by, it's called Her by Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, not by Joaquin Phoenix, but he's the actor. He's the primary actor in it. And there are these AIs in the movie. It's like set like 20 years in the future maybe. And it's this point in the future where there's all these different operating systems. And like the operating systems are running off of artificial intelligence, and the operating systems will learn who you are and they'll know you, and then they interact with you. And I think that's going to be interesting. I really do. I'm not going to do a let's play of it, but I'm telling you, I think there's going to be an interesting future there. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there at all yet, but I think it will be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays into modern relationships about 20 years from now, when we have all these like AI dating simulators for women and men, you know, both ways. And what are people going to do? Yeah, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to jump on a grenade for the boys. I'm going to hop on a grenade for the boys and try one of these dating sims. But, you know, it's going to be a private Let's Play. It's only for Patreon supporters, all right? So, anyway, but what we did want to get to is Soul Raiders. It is a trailer for Zero Latency. And Zero Latency, they basically are a developer that are working on location-based entertainment games that take place kind of in a warehouse, teams of 4-on-4. And this is their latest feature. It's like their 6th game that they've made so far. It's called Soul Raiders. Got a new trailer for it. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. It is going to be a weird format, though. Apologies for the format. I'm going to go ahead and pump up this volume here. Alrighty, well that is Soul Raiders, which is coming to... Actually, I think it's already available now. If you can go to a place that has zero latency stuff, I believe that this... I think it launched actually on the 9th. I think it maybe is launching today. But that is Soul Raiders trailer for Zero Latency. Why don't we go ahead and bounce over to our webby browser? I believe there's a story about this on Shack News. And so it's saying Zero Latency launches free roam VR co-op game Soul Raiders. Combines free roaming co-op action with competitive esport aspirations. And so you got 2 teams of up to 4 players face off across 3 separate maps with distinct winning conditions. Soul Raiders is played on site in a large warehouse-sized room decked out with a host of VR technology. Untethered VR systems are strapped to players' backs, and an array of cameras is used to track movements and attacks with striking accuracy. The result is a level of immersion that is essentially unprecedented in the world of esports. Yeah, they're trying to kind of make this like an esport thing as well. And the guy that was involved with this, CEO Tim Ruse, says, with more than 500,000 gameplays in our global locations and the global popularity of esports on the rise, we've seen a lot of demand from players who want to compete against each other in head-to-head action. With Soul Raiders, now they can. So that is Soul Raiders. It is the 6th overall game from Zero Latency. These guys are from, I believe, where are they from? Like Melbourne, right? Yeah, they're a Melbourne-based studio. Like this thing originally started in Australia, and they had these warehouses, and they had people with backpacks and stuff. Untethered VR is like the systems that they're using. Or no, I don't know. Untethered VR, I guess that just goes on to there. But basically, they're using like backpack VR systems. You know, it's a battle of these location-based entertainment. You got The Void, you got Spaces, you got Zero Latency. There's a whole bunch of these places out there. Now, I believe what they really need to do with these things, though, is they need to, well, I kind of like what Spaces did, where they basically scan your face and they put your face on the character. We saw that yesterday in that Dean Takahashi video that had absolutely garbage audio and was kind of crappy, but it was funny to see the faces on those people. They were doing, of course, a Terminator experience in VR, and that all took place where they're basically in a platform area. They can kind of walk around. There's a railing that they could grab on, and all of that would be locked in, and you could have different experiences like that. And there's some cool things that you can do. I think with a moving platform and a railing, for example, all you would have to do in a location-based VR arcade setup is, you know, maybe have an area that's like 8 feet by 8 feet or so, like a 8 feet by 8 foot square, and it has a railing all around it, but the entire floor is like motion simulators, like it's moving, it's shaking, it's doing different things. And so you could pretend kind of like hover junkers. You just pretend like you're on this moving platform. You're in the VR experience. You're doing all kinds of stuff. And you feel like you're moving through like a huge, gigantic area. And the motion simulators moving around. They got giant fans that are blowing wind on you at certain times. Maybe they've got special heat lamps that come in when you're like in a desert area. And then they have like some kind of cold thing that comes in and the cold air is blowing on you. And there's lots of things that can be done with this. And that's what The Void is doing. That's what Spaces is doing. Zero Latency. Over the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to continue to see a lot of different people work on this stuff. Remember those patent designs we saw from Universal Studios? They're getting involved in this. Disney is an investor, I believe, in The Void. You've got a lot of these companies that are getting involved in this, and this stuff is just going to start getting better and better and better. And I really feel like the key that these guys need to get into is the more things that you can touch with your real hands, the more little levers, the more little switches, the more buttons, rumbling floors, you know, they need to get you into the experience. Imagine, you know, some of these VR experiences that we're in, haven't you guys been in a VR experience where you're like standing on the top of a cliff or something and you're looking over the edge and you're like, oh my God, I'm looking over the edge, but you don't really have that fear factor. But imagine if you were playing in, like, you're playing barefoot or something, or you're playing in socks, And imagine they have it perfectly matched with a platform that has a drop. Now the drop isn't 90 feet, but you don't know that. You feel like it almost is 90 feet. And so your feet and everything, it's buying into the experience. You feel like you're up there on a cliff. I think there's a lot of interesting things that can be done. I have not actually been to any of these centers. I haven't tried any of this location-based stuff. I've been to a couple VR arcades just to kind of check out what they were doing. And it was basically, it was kind of lame. All the VR arcades I've been to have been quite lame. And I haven't tried any of this stuff. But they do have a lot of this stuff in the Bay Area. I need to definitely go check out Cinemax Spaces. I believe that is in San Jose. So the next time I'm out in that area, I do want to try some of these things and kind of see what they have going on. I kind of feel like I might be mildly disappointed with where we are at in terms of state of the art in this stuff. I don't think they'll have enough levers, enough buttons, enough things. And then also, I'm adamant that we've got to put our bodies into the game. Somehow we've got to get our physical bodies into the game. And then, you know, field of view, like there's so many other factors that you got to think about to really take this up a notch. But there's certain things that could be done. For example, in the Void, they could have like a Star Trek bridge crew kind of a deal, right? They don't need to call it Star Trek bridge crew. They could just call it space something, you know, space whatever, right? And they could have a captain's chair, and they could have the engineer's chair, and they could have all of that with all kinds of little levers and all kinds of little buttons. And so you're really sitting in the chair. It could be relatively small. It doesn't even have to take up a lot of space. So, and you get a crew of 4 people in, and you get the 4 people out of there, and you have them, you know, have a 15, 25-minute experience, have it on a moving platform so it's rumbling, like you get blasted with lasers, it's rumbling, have all kinds of speakers that are around so you get that speaker effect. There's just lots of exciting things that could be done in this. I really think location-based VR entertainment, it's going to be a game changer because it's going to show people what next level VR is all about. I think this is going to be absolutely mission critical, honestly, for VR breaking out into the mainstream, because I think a lot of people that have no awareness of Oculus Rifts, HTC Vives, or anything like that, they're going to be at Disneyland, they're going to be at Universal Studios, they're going to be at some of these different theme parks, and they're just going to be on vacation, you know, and they're randomly going to end up trying one of these VR things, and they're going to be completely blown away by it, and they're not going to be able to stop thinking about it. And then they're going to end up buying an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive or whatever it happens to be at this time. I really feel like it's going to be like the arcades. Remember the arcades back in the 70s? Everybody saw the arcades back in the 70s. They were playing Centipede, Pac-Man, Defender, Asteroids. You see what the possibilities are, and then you end up buying an Atari 2600, and then you get an Intellivision, you get a ColecoVision, and that's kind of how it started out. So I think location-based entertainment VR, it's going to be absolutely huge. It's got to get a lot better than it probably is right now. But like Dean Takahashi and those people, they tried that Cinemax Spaces, the Terminator deal, and they were blown away by it. And there's been some good press out of that from complete noobs that have never tried all this stuff. So I think it's important. I think it's going to be a big deal. But anyway, guys, it's been over an hour. I got to get the heck out of Dodge. I will be back, of course, tomorrow. Let me go ahead and switch over to my little outro logo. And tomorrow we may have a special guest on the show via voice, coming in on voice chat via Skype. I might do kind of an interview of someone that is interested in VR but doesn't own an Oculus Rift, doesn't own an HTC Vive, doesn't own a PlayStation VR, but very interested in VR, looking forward to the Oculus Quest. And I'm going to be talking to her tomorrow. Hopefully, if she's able to make it and it works out, we will have our another guest, not our first guest. MameFan has obviously been a guest. We've also had guests on via video and stuff like that. But we may have a video, we may have a guest tomorrow on our Sunday episode, which I'm looking forward to that, because I'm telling you, Sunday episodes are some of the most boring episodes because there's no news, you know, there's very little news. So it's kind of going to be like interviewing somebody that is very interested in getting into VR, looking forward to the Quest. So I'm looking forward to that. So look forward to that tomorrow. Of course, that will be following a VR Roundtable episode. I should be on a VR Roundtable episode tomorrow, and then after that, we will get into VR 365, maybe see some minor news stories, and get into an interview with a special guest that could be coming on tomorrow. So look forward to that. But I got to get out of here, and I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful Saturday. Take it easy. Later. I got to find, where do I turn off the stream? Here we go. All right. See you guys.